Hi, this is Rob, one of your FSCJ Adult Education Academic Tutors. And in this video, we are going to take the steps to take 2 points on a line from finding the slope to using point slope formula to generate the slope intercept form of the line. So the first point we are going to do the first sets of points we are going to do this with are -4, 5 and -1, -1. So we're going to use our slope formula over here, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to take y1, which is -1 minus y, which is -5, and then we will take our x2 and say -1 minus a -4. -1 minus 5 is -6 over -1 minus a -4 is +4. So that will give us -1 plus 4 is 3. So we get -6 over 3. We are going to reduce that and get -2. So this first line has a slope of 2. Now we are going to plug it into point slope form, and it does not matter which of the 2 points we use. We may pick whichever one we like. We're going to say y minus y1, we'll go with 5, equals x times, that is m, or -2 times x minus x1 is -4 minus a -4. So we need to clear out the negatives here, and we get +4. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times +4 is -8. Y minus 5 equals -2x minus 8. Now we need to clear out this -5 by doing the opposite operation and adding 5 to both sides. Y equals -2x will just come down. -8 plus 5 is -3. The slope-intercept form of our first equation, then, finding the slope and then using point slope, gives us y equals -2x minus 3. For the next equation, we are going to use the points 1, 3, and 2, 4. First up, we find our slope. Y2 is 4 minus y1 is 3 over x2 is 2 minus x1 is 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So our slope is 1. Now we may plug everything into the point slope formula. Y minus y1, we're going to use the second point in this case, and we're going to say -4 equals slope of 1 times x minus x1, but we're using zero point 0.2, so 2. We have to use the points or the coordinates from the same point. So 1 times x is x. 1 times -2 is -2. We can bring our y minus 4 down. Y minus 4, we need to add 4 to get rid of it. So we're going to say +4 to both sides. Y minus 4 gives us just plain y. We bring down our 1x, whose coefficient we don't need to write because it's 1. -2 plus 4 is +2. So the equation for the line that passes through the points 1, 3 and 2, 4 is y equals x plus 2. For our last example, we are going to utilize the points -3, 2 and 2, 3. So first we are going to find that slope. We're going to change things up, and we're going to call this one point 2 and this one point 1. So y2 is going to be 2 minus, and y1 is going to be 3. So we have 2 minus 3. Then x2 we're going to say is -3 minus x1 is 2. So 2 minus 3 is -1. -3 minus 2 is -5. However, -1 over -5, those cancel out. And we get a slope of 1/5. Now we're going to plug this slope and one of the points into this equation. So we're going to say y minus y1 is 3 equals slope of 1/5 times x minus x1 in this case is 2. And we're going to do some math. We get 1/5 x and minus 1/5 of 2. We're going to say our multiplication rules, 1 over 5 times negative 2 over 1. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 5 times 1 is 5. So we get negative 2/5. Now we can bring down y minus 3 equals 1/5 x, or 1/5 x minus 2/5. Now we need to move that negative 3 to isolate y. We're going to add 3. So we get y equals, we're going to keep our 1/5 x. However, over here, we have 3 minus 2/5. Well, 3 consists of 3 chunks of 5/5 or 15/5. Minus 2/5 will give us 13/5. And it will be positive because 3 is the bigger number. And we remember our integer rules when we apply them to decimals and fractions. The equation for this particular pair of points, negative 3, 2, and 2, 3, comes out to y equals 1/5 x plus 13/5. Yes, we may have these coordinates. This would be a fun one to graph out because of that 13/5. But since we have the points already, we don't have to worry about that. This has been finding the linear equation in slope-intercept form, utilizing your slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and the intermediary stage of point-slope formula to get to that slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Thank you, and keep learning.